Hey friends, welcome to Script.info. My name is Rizwan Khan, and in this video we are going to learn about Redux. It's a very famous library in the world of JavaScript developer and in the world of front-end developer, you can say like that. So what is this library? It's an open source JavaScript library for managing the state of an application. Now the question is, what is a state? So just imagine a simple JavaScript application, right? When you are writing a JavaScript application without any framework or without any library, and whenever you are declaring global variables, so you can use those variables in all of your functions, right? So that is nothing but the state of an application. And to manage such state in the frameworks like AngularJS or library in reactjs, so even without Redux you can manage all the states, but with Redux it's very easy to manage the state of the whole application, so your time will reduce and you can do the more productive work. So right now maybe I'm sounding little more complex, but trust me, it's a very easy concept and it's very easy to learn, and I'm going to explain you all of these things in a very quick way. So let me show you some diagrammatic way. Here we go. So this is, as I told you in the beginning of this video, we are going to implement a React.js application with Redux, right? So let's take an example of an application, right? You are going to implement an application. For example, just if you have watched my previous couple of videos, like about the React.js, if I'm talking about the blog project, so you can imagine from there. So let's take an example. Here in this diagram, you can see I have a root component, right? And its paint is really bad, right? I don't know how to use it properly. So let's take an example. You can see it's written here. Just focus on my cursor. So we have a root component, and let's imagine a user is logged in, and after login he got his name Rizwan, and inside this root component we have one more component as a child component, that is the blog component, right? So there we can display the blog information, and inside the blog component again we have a sidebar component, and there we need to show the logged in user name, right? So we have logged in from the root component, so we got the name in the root component, right? So what we can do here, we can pass this name as a prop to the child component. So we can use prop like this, name equals to Rizwan. So blog component can access this name property. Then again we have to pass this name as a prop in the blog component, so this sidebar component can access it. So what I'm going to say here, this name first going to this blog component, then from this blog component it is going to this sidebar component, and then finally we are able to display the name. Here's a Rizwan, right? So what this is a kind of like, this blog component is not even using the name Rizwan, right? But still we are passing our information. So that's the way in React. If we are working without any state management library, we are passing information from one component to another component with the props. That's the way only. So here what Redux is going to help us, Redux is providing a store. There we can store all the state of the application, and all the components can access that state and can make use of those data. So here you can see in the diagram what we have. So the same example with Redux is we have a name within the store. Let's say name, we logged in, user logged in via the root component and got the name Rizwan as a logged in user. So let's imagine we have a number of components. Let's say the component 1, component 2, component 3, right? And all of them without any intermediate components, they can directly access the store like this. So this is a component, and this can access this name property, this can access this name property, and sorry for my bad handwriting in the paint. So this can access the name property. How it is going to access? Using the props. So it is like that. So every component has props in React.js, so it is going to, we are going to say props.name and able to access the name, and we are able to display the name. So now let me tell you how it works. So React, it's all about the UI layer, it's all about the view layer, right? So here we have in this, just focus on my cursor. So this is the React views, in this circle you can see. So whenever we perform some actions, let's say the click event listener, or on mouse over, or anything like typing event, on press, whatever it is. So whenever we perform some actions, that actions gets handled by the action handler, or also we can call it the action creator. So here you can see we have a component, and when we try to log in from a component, then that is nothing but an action, and that action is available within the action handler. That is nothing but also a function which handles the login, right? So here you can see we have this login. Just look at my cursor. Okay, so this login is nothing but an action, and after login we'll have the user name like Rizwan, and whenever we dispatch an action, action handler perform the action, reducer listen to that action, right, and produces new state of the application. So here the things work like that. So action goes here, action handler dispatches an action, and reducer listen to that action and produces new state of the application, and again stored in the store, right? So few things, and then once we have the name Rizwan, then other components can access it. And the few important things we need to note, right, about the store. So we are going to store all the information immutably. Now the question is, what is immutably? Means it's a way to store the information without destroying other information. It is a global state, right? So we may have a lot of other informations. So without destroying, we have to keep all the information in the state. That's what we call immutable way. And also if we are talking about the action handler, so action is nothing but a JavaScript object with the two values like type and payload. We'll see all of those things in just a couple of seconds. And to also handle the asynchronous requests, like for example, if you're going to do a login, then obviously you're going to make an asynchronous request to the server, to the backend server. So those requests needs to handle properly, and so there we need to use some middlewares, that is Thunk. And right now I'm again not making any sense to you. We'll discuss about all of those things. Just let me go through the simple application. So let's start. So open your command prompt. If you're a Windows user, or if you're a Linux, open your terminal, and here you can see we are in the user Khan. CD navigate to the desktop, and then CD React, and let's see what we have already. We have a lot of things here. So let me clear things. So here I'm going to create a reactjs project. So for that, npx create react app and name of your project. So I'm going to call it Redux to or CRUD. So I'm going to call it Redux CRUD, whatever it is. So if you want to know all of these information, like what is npx, what is create react app, I have everything in my previous videos. Just go through my channel and you can easily go through it. I have also created a project from the scratch blog project. You can watch that one also. So here we have this React.js blog project. It's a 4 videos, so you can watch it. It's very professional React.js project, like a division of components, folder structuring, calling of different functions, creating layouts and all of this. So also don't forget to subscribe this channel. Okay, thanks. So let's close it. And here we have, so let's hit enter and wait for a couple of minutes to get it installed. So here our project installation is complete, and I'm going to open this project. So if you're using VS Code, then there is a shortcut. You can simply type code and first navigate to the project. So we have created a project with the name Redux-CRUD. So let's navigate to that, Redux-CRUD, and code dot. So it will open our project in the VS Code, and here it is. So let's close this welcome screen. And so this is our project directory structure, and I hope you all know about all of these directories, folders and files if you are following me from previous couple of days. So yeah, it's fine. So here we are going to install some more dependencies which are required for our current project. Okay, so here I'm going to install npm install -even save, and we are going to install Redux because we are going to use Redux. Then react-redux. So this is the library which connects React component with the Redux store. And then we also need a thunk to control the asynchronous behavior of the action handlers. That's a kind of middleware, and you'll get to know very soon, so don't worry about that. So these three things right now is our requirement: Redux, React Redux, and thunk. So let's hit enter, and it will take a little bit of time, and meanwhile we are going to design our project. So this is the source directory, and this is the app.js file, and it is a bit slow. So here we have our this is app.js, so this is the main component for the whole project. Now let's remove everything from here. So let's save it. Also, we don't require this logo svg, so I'm going to remove it here, save it, and just for demo we're going to see it's working or not. Test, there's one. Let's save it, and once again open your cmd, and it is still installing. I want to run my development server, so yeah, forget it, no problem. So there we have our index.js file. Right now I'm going to just tell you the how Redux works. So first let's see how Redux works, and then we will implement the project. Yeah, sure. So here we have the React DOM, and which is rendering our root component. So what we can do here, we can finally our installation of all the three packages, Redux, React Redux, and thunk is completed. So I can start my development server. For that, just type npm start and wait for a moment. So here is our development server started, and it is loading our project on port 3000. That's a default port for all the reactjs. You can change it if you're interested. Yeah, here we have test is on, so it's working fine. Now let's see, now let's explore the Redux, how it works. So as I said, this is the entry point for the whole React.js application that's available inside the src folder. Src, then we have index.js, right? And here we have render function, which renders our app components. That's why we are able to see that test is on. We have just added that text, right? So what I'm gonna say here, so all the libraries is also installed. I'm going to import first thing. Yeah, let's see the steps. First step, create the store. Okay, second step, create the reducer. Now third step, action handler, create actions. Okay, so let's explore this. So how we are going to create a store? We can create a store by using a function create a store from the Redux library. So let's import that function first. Import, and we are going to say from Redux, and then we'll say create a store. Yes, here it is. Now call this function create a store, and now our store is ready. Const, this is the concept. After that we will implement the project. Okay, so const store, our store is ready. Okay, now let's take this step down here. Okay, so our store is ready, but this store requires an argument that is nothing but the reducer. And what is reducer? Reducer is just a normal JavaScript function, right? So let's create here const root reducer, and here we are going to say it's a reducer. Okay, and what reducer returns, as I told you in this diagram, right? So whenever we dispatch an action from the action handler, reducer will listen to that action and produces new state of the application, right? So how it is going to produce new state of the application? By returning state. Okay, so first it needs state, right? So the first argument required is a state, and the initial state will be empty, and second thing it requires is the actions as a argument, right? And then it is going to return that state. Let's save it. Okay, and this root reducer is required as an argument for this create store. Okay, so that's the mechanism how Redux work. You can also say it's a boilerplate, and you'll be perfect just doing after 3-4 times, right? So that's our reducer is ready, our create store is ready, and we are not going to dispatch any action right now. We are just going to see right now how it is going to look. So we need to assign this store to the root component, right? So for that we need a component from the React Redux. Import from React Redux. Okay, cool. And here the component which actually going to provide the store to the whole project, that's a provider. Now we are going to wrap our root component with the provider component. Okay, so here I'm going to say provider. Let's wrap this app component, so the store will be available to the whole project. Okay, and this is we wrapped our provider. Now we need to pass as a prop, so that's provider has a property store, and we are going to assign our created store. So this is a store, let's assign it here. Now that's it. This is what Redux. Is it difficult? Just let me know in the comment section, right? So let's save it. Okay, now just to see it is working or not, we're going to see in the browser, and let's open the browser console, and here we are in the console. Let's zoom it, and by default we have window object in the whole that's the two object from the browser, like so window, and another one is a document, right? So if you hit enter, you will get a lot of properties. So I'm going to create a new property within the window object. So I'm going to say here, just for our testing, right? So window and property is a store, and let's assign our store. Copy and paste here. Okay, now we can explore this, we can inspect this in the browser, because we attach a new property store to the window. So we can see it here. Save it, and let's type here store and hit enter, and you can see we have 4 functions, or maybe 5, right? So dispatch, subscribe, get state, replacement, replace reducer, and symbol. So all of them is not our use, because that's a different scenario for different purpose, different frameworks, different libraries. So generally, if you are not using React, then you have to do the subscribe, you have to subscribe a function to get the store data. So this is not required for our current project, but yeah, we are going to see. All right, so this is what dispatch, and let's create the initial state for the application. So this is the state, and this is initial state is empty object, right? So let's create the initial state, const and initial state equals to say empty object, and here we are going to take this initial state, and instead of this empty object we are going to say here initial state. Okay, and now let's say name. Just imagine the scenario I have given you after the login, what you are going to have. So Rizwan Khan. Okay, so that's what this is the initial state of the whole application, right? Just go back, and I think it is already reloaded. Just type store, and this is going to provide a function get state, and you'll see what we have here. It's a name Rizwan. That's our initial state, guys. Let's change it to something else. Save back to the browser, and it gets loaded. And just going to see here store.getState, and here we have Rizwan. So that's the initial state, right? Now what we can do, we are going to split the whole functions, everything in a separate files. For that, here we are in the source directory, and let's create a folder with the name, the appropriate name for the now, let's say a store folder. Okay, or you can change something else, anything, store for now. Okay, and then let's create a file store.js, and let's go to again back to your index.js and take your store function from here, cut, copy, and here we are going to say paste. So that's our store.js file. Now let's take your reducer from here, cut and save, and inside the store we are going to create one more full file, reducers.js, and here we are going to paste it. Okay, let's save it. Now we are going to create one more folder for the project which is required as a constant. So let's say constants.js, and one more file that is actions, right? So we can create our actions.js. Okay, so all of the files are ready. We already have the store. So what we have to do here, we have to import our create store. So we have imported already here, so let's take it from here, cut, save, go to your store, save. Now export default store so we can use it. Okay, save. Now go to your index.js file, and you are going to see this store is not right now not available. Okay, so we are going to import that. So we are going to say store, and from store / store.js, we don't need to write .js, right? Store is done. Now also we need to get the reducer, because we are passing here within the function. If you go in the store, here we have root reducer, right? So we need to import this file also. Export default and root reducer, save. Now back to your store file and import here. Sorry guys. Import root reducer from, it is in the same directory, right? So it's just reducers, save it. So root reducer is available here, and yeah, that's all what we have done up to now. So here we have index.js file, and let's remove this comments, not required right now because you know how it works. Now back to your browser, and here we have an error, initial state is not defined. Okay, cool, very true. So here we have initial state. Let's take this initial state and remove this comment also, save. Now go to your store, or not store, reducers. Here is the initial state, so let's copy here, paste here. That's our initial state, and back to the browser. Now everything is fine. Also for the testing, the say store, here we have a function, you can see get state. Let's call that store.getState, so you can see your store initial data. Okay, fine. Let's save, and let's try to implement our CRUD application, or CRUD, whatever, I don't know the right pronunciation. So here we have Okay, so we have function. Now let's create for the to do function const use not use. Okay, let's imagine a to do. So what we need for to do, we need a to do const, okay, and we'll say to do and set to do, and we're going to use a state. So use state, and you need to import this use state from the React library, and this is the initial value for the use state to do, that's here empty. Okay, let's save this, so we can save it, right? Now let's create a folder components within the src directory, and let's create a folder components, and within this folder we are going to create some files like add to do.js, one more file, let's say to do list.js, sorry, it's a wrong extension, and to do add to do list. Okay, if required other components, then we'll create. So here we have app.js. So I'm assuming this is our main component, and we are going to create all of the business logic inside this component. So let's see what we have here to do, and let's go to your add to do, and here we are going to say a component add to do. Okay, so this is our component add to do, and here we are going to have a form because we are going to add a to do, right? Input type equals to text, and that's all. We need to bind this also, but right now let's import it first. So we have form, and we are going to add this. Now let's go to your to do list, and again RFC for shortcut for the component, and here we are going to say to do list. Let's save it and just close this, and here we are going to have ul instead of ul, okay, and li. Marketing. Okay, save. Now back to your app.js file, let's import all of these. So add first to do list, okay, to do list, then second we need to import add to do. Okay, now back to your browser, and we are going to see we have marketing as a list, and then we have an input box, so we can we can create the new list. Okay, so let's do some css work over here. So here we are going to say, instead of text align center, let's say we have the app, right? Assign width like okay, 40%, okay, and then margin 0 auto. Save it, back to the browser, and this is kind of center, you can say. Right now keep it like that. We are not going to work on the design first. So here we have app.js. Now first let's add some dummy to-dos so we can see the result before adding a to-do. So here we have store, and then we have reducers, and here we have name Rizwan. So instead of name Rizwan, let's have or just keep it name, it's not a problem. So to-dos, and this is going to be an array, okay, and inside this array we are going to have an app object with id, some random value like that, and then finally we are going to have a to-do name. So let's say marketing, and then else completed, so this task is completed or not, so you can say the false or maybe the true. Let's copy it, and let's change the id something else, and marketing, shopping, buying, anything. So let's save this. Now we have this to do's initial state, and how we are going to connect our store with the component we are going to see. So here we have our to-do list. Okay, so let's connect this component with the store. And how we are going to connect? First we need a function, okay, from the React Redux const, and sorry, it's going to be import from and react hyphen redux connect. So this is a function which is going to connect our component with the store connect. Let's call this connect, and this component returns higher order components which is going to wrap our component. So let's store this connect const and connected component. Okay, so now this connect function requires two arguments. One is the callback function which is going to connect your store state with the component, and another one is the actions, like whatever the actions we are going to dispatch. So that's as a second argument is required. Let me show you how we are going to create it. So const and map state to props. So it's just meaningful name. We are going to map state to the props of this component, right? So that's no worry about that. And this function, when we will pass as first argument, it is going to receive an state as an argument. So state, and this is a kind of boilerplate also. Initially it is like looks weird why we are doing all of these things, and it returns a state object which is going to have the state, whatever the state you want to be available for this component. So I want to be available like the to-dos component, right? To-dos state we just created, right? So I'll say the to-dos, and I'll say here state dot, you remember what we have? To-dos. If you see, if you go to the reducer, we have created this to-dos, right? So state dot to-dos, and here we are returning the state. So here we are going to attach to-dos. Let's save it, and that's what we are done with that. And right now we are not going to dispatch any action, so the second argument will be null map state to props, and the second will be null. As I said, this connect returns an higher order components we stored here in this connected component, and we can wrap our connected component. We are going to wrap our connected component. Save it. Now I hope everything is fine. Let's see the output. Yeah, no change. So let's do something weird thing like we always do. So inside this, let's just import, just display the whole thing. So I'm going to use something, because that's an object and we cannot display the object directly. So I'm going to first stringify it. This is a stringify, and we have props as a argument for this component, props dot, and what we have created here, to-dos. So we are going to write here to-dos, save, and back to the browser. Hey, what we have here, see, this is an array and we have all the objects. Like this, we can create n number of components, and whatever the state we want to bind with the component, just bind it and you'll get the data. That's the magic for the Redux. So here we have, now let's create a function. So props dot to-dos. First we need to check like to-dos is available or not. So props dot to-dos dot length, or just simply say to-dos. Yeah, to-dos dot, it's an array, right? To-dos dot length, so it is 0, automatically it is going to be false. And props dot to-dos dot map. So we can use a function map. If you are following my videos, then you are very good. You'll be aware of all of this. Then we can say the to-do, and let's return the li tag with the value to-do dot and in here to do dot id. What we have here, let's save it and let's give a indentation proper. Back to the browser, and whoa, we have an error. Good. So the error is parse error, unexpected token, curly brace. Okay, we are within the JSX, so we cannot write the semicolon, right? So here we have all of our ID. Whoa. So like this, we have one more property, to do. Save and back to the browser. Marketing, shopping, buying. Okay, cool. So now let's go to your so we have connected our store, right? Now we are going to do dispatch some actions. So for here we are going to first, let's go to your app.js file, and here we already created the state to do and set to do. So this is the add to do, and here we have an input. Inside this we have a form. So first we need to bind the form input with the component. So we are going to say the first name of the component, like say name is going to be to do. The input name is to do, and the value of the input. So value of the input it is just what we have in the state. So we are going to say that to do. This is the way how we bind the input with the component value to do, and on change is also required, but just for now, first we'll see everything goes well, then we'll bind it. We'll use on change. Okay, save and let's use it. Okay, no problem. So on change is equals to, and here we are going to set the to do. So I'm just going to say the props set to do and the value, right? What we are going to return. So whenever we use on change, then it returns an event, so we can use that event. So we are going to set event dot target dot value. This is a shortcut. You can also create a separate function for it, but just do it easy way, right? Save it and go to your add to do. Here we have input, so let's remove type is text. No, fine, totally cool. And let's bind other inputs. So the name is, we have props dot name, and then we have value. So we are going to say the props dot value, and then finally we have on change. So on change equals to props dot on change. Okay, so let's back to your browser and hope everything is fine. This is the error for the child. We are using a map function, we are creating a loop, and we are not assigning a key for the child element, right? So it's not easy to see. Yeah, it's working fine, and let's solve that error. So here we have li. We'll also, if we'll get the time, we'll design it a little bit. Key equals to, here we're going to say to do dot id. Save. Now back to the browser, and you can see we have no errors. Now back again and add to do. So that's our on change function. Go to the app.js. Okay, and just for the let's create a function. Okay, now set to do and do the console.log e.target.value. Okay, so it will print whatever we are going to type. Yep, it's working fine. So all set. Back to the normal. Yeah, set to do. Now let's create a function to add the to do. So we are going to pass that add to do in this add to do. Okay, so let's create a function const add to do, and okay, first create action add to do. So let's go to your actions file, and here we are going to say the functions that is going to add. So let's give it a name like const add to do action. Just you can just keep it like add to do. That's is easy to see, like Yeah, it's add to do, or you can separate it by different name. Okay, now it is going to get a object, that is the to do object, or basically the to do's. No, it's to do object, right? So that's a to do object, and here we are going to return a function that's again an arrow function, so we can access it, and it is going to receive a parameter dispatch. Okay, and here we are going to dispatch. So as I told you in the very beginning of the video, action is nothing but a JavaScript object with a value, type, and payload. So the first type is required mandatory to identify it, what kind of action it is. But the second, payload, you can give it any name, payload, no load, or whatever it is. So type is required. So we are going to create add underscore to do, and you can also add this as a constant. So we can import it, type add to do, and then to do, and what we have an argument here to do. So we are going to assign this here to do. Save it. So this is our first action we have created. Now back to your add to do, and here, no, not app.js here. So here we are going to create our normal function const add to do. Okay, and here we are going to say the props. So first create the object const, so the to do, and that there is a problem. We have this to do name, and this to do is just the text for the input, and this is going to be an object. So let's give it a different name, to do object, and it is going to have 3 values. So id, for the now I'm going to create some random value math dot random, so it will generate some dynamic id for every to do. Then again we are going to have a to do, so that's this to do, that's the name of the to do, what is the task, and is completed. Default it is going to be false. Okay, so that's our first to do ready, and that's the way the first to do will be created. And finally we are going to create get an action, right? So let's create your connect your component with the action with the store const, and we'll say connected component, and use the function connect, and I hope it is imported. So yeah, it's imported from the React Redux, and connect, and it requires the 2 parameter. This time we don't need the state, but we need the act. We are going to dispatch an action, so we'll say const we are going to say map dispatch to props. So we are going to dispatch is a kind of function, right? So we are going to attach the functions with the props, and it is also going to get a parameter when it is going to pass as a argument for the connect within the connect. So dispatch, and here we are going to return the function, right? So the name, again, it's to add to do. You can create any name here, it's not a problem, but here it is going to be a function. So add to do is a function, right? And here we have dispatch, so we need to dispatch, and here we need to call the action, right? So there we are going to see what we have, actions. Now we have add to do, so you're going to say export const add to do, so it is available, right? Now let's go back to your app.js file and import the action. Import add to do from, or there may be multiple actions, right? So add to do, delete to do, remove to do, whatever it is. So we'll say import star as actions from, so yep, it is store /actions. Okay, Now hope it will work if everything is correct. So we are going to say here actions dot add to do. Let's see, it's giving hint. That's the feature in the VS Code, add to do, and it is going to get an argument. So here it is first going to get a to do object, and here it is to do object, right? Save it. Now connect this map dispatch to props. So first one is for the state, so it's going to be null, but second one map dispatch to props. Now connect this component. Save. Now go to your add to do function. Here we just need to simply say props, and this is add to do is available. Let's copy and see here to do and give it this object. Okay, because it requires an object. Here you can see what we are passing as an argument, add object. Okay, let's save it, and yeah, hope everything's fine. So we are going to pass the reference of this function to this add to do, right? So let's say here add to do equals to add to do. Okay, now go to your add to do and form, right? So here form on submit. On submit, it is going to call a function. Let's say submit to do. Let's copy it and submit to do, and here we are going to say submit to do. Here it is, it's a form, right? So form or input or anything which changes kind of related to the DOM, document object model, so that always gives event as an argument. So we'll say the event, and to avoid the default behavior, like when we are submitting a form, you have an input, you type something, you hit enter, and then you'll see the browser reload. So to avoid that behavior, we'll say the event.prevent default. So it will avoid the default behavior, prevent default, and then we have props here. Now props dot add to do, right? So call this, what we have say here, if you see within the app.js, we created this function add to do. Now we are calling it. So here we are calling it props.add to do. That's all. Okay, now let's save all. It's already saved. Go back to your browser and you'll see submit to do is not defined. Okay, submit to do is not defined. So here add to do, and sorry, the mistake is submit to do. Yep, this is not just an arrow, it's an expression wise arrow function. So call submit to do. Now it's fine. So let's go back to your browser, and props is not defined. App.js, props is not defined really. Okay, let's go to your app.js, and props is not defined. It's because we have here function and every component receives props as an argument. So yeah, cool. So now let's create something, and we have big error. What is the error? Action must be plain objects. Use custom middleware for async actions, right? That's what we have, the middleware. Let's go to your actions, and here we are returning. So what is problem here? If you see your if you go your actions, if you go your app.js, so we have created map dispatch to props. Okay, so here we have our map dispatch to props. The problem is here we are receiving this dispatch and we are calling this dispatch, and dispatch expects only a action, and action is nothing but an object with two values like type and payload. But what we are giving here, we are giving here a function. Add to do is a function, right? So to solve this problem, we have a middleware, that is Thunk, we installed. So we are going to say here, or if you create a function here only and dispatch, instead of writing this actions to do object, if you write simply like this, and you can say the type add underscore to do, and then payload or the to do equals to do object. If you write like this, it will work, it will damn work. But right now the situation, I want to because that's the very professional way and we work like that. So here what we have, actions to do, and we need a middleware. So let's go to your store.js, and here we have create store. Now let's give a second argument, apply middleware. So, and you can import the apply middleware from the Redux library. Okay, let's give it a enter. Now pass the middleware, that is nothing but thunk, and we installed the wrong package, I think. So if you go back in your package.json file, and you are seeing it's a thunk, right? So this is what I don't need to install. So let's close this your terminal and say npm uninstall thunk. So it is uninstalled, and now let's install a package, npm install redux hyphen save, it's a save dependency, redux hyphen thunk. So here our redux thunk is installed, and we are going to use it just to, so here add to do, not add to do, reducers, sorry, it's in the store, right? So where is store? Here it is. And the apply middleware, we are going to say thunk, and you can see the hint, just hit enter or simply type import thunk from redux thunk. So let's save it. Now it's go to your browser and let's refresh the page, and it should be already refreshed, right? Okay, our development server is not running, boy. Okay, so let's type here npm start. So now inspect your browser and hope you are not getting any error. So let's type something, and no problem. So it's dispatching our action because we are not getting any error. Now let's back to your browser and let's do the reducer job. So when we are dispatching an action, so if you just to remind you, when we are dispatching an action from the action handler, it is going to notify, so reducer will listen to that action and produce new state of the application. So let's go to your reducer, and here it is listening, right? So here we have, let's create a switch and identify the type of action, actions dot type, and here we're going to say the case, and it is going to be add underscore to do. If it is add to do, then add simply. So the another thing, if you see this, it is immutable, so we are not going to destroy the state, we are always going to preserve the state, and then we are going to add our, right? So here we are going to say the state, the way what we can do state. So let's take the original state first and split the state, so dot triple dot and state. So in this way we splitted the original state what we have previously. Now let's create the new one, to do's, and it's an array, right? Again here we may have a lot of to do's object, and if you directly say the actions dot to do, so it is going to destroy all of the objects. So what we are going to do, let's take triple dot state dot to do's. So this is the original to do, and we splitted the object, so we have the multiple to do's now. Now let's add the new one, actions dot, and we are going to say the to do. So let's save it and hope it is done. So and also break the case. Okay, and we are already returning the state here. Okay, fine. So let's go to your browser, and it's already reloaded. Now add something new, make milk. Hey, it's working. And let's do something. Yep. And also let's empty the input values after adding the state, after adding the to do. So let's go to your app.js, and here we are going to say after add to do, when it's done, then do let's say the to do set to do is an empty, so it will be empty. Now back to your browser and we'll say hello. Now it's empty also. Buy something for me, and none of them is completed, right? So we have also is false, that is going to be in case of update, and we are going to also have to see like how we are going to delete it. So now let's do simply when we are going to let's say to do list. Okay, open the list, and here we have key to do, and let's hit enter and get it down. Okay, now let's attach a function here. On click, we are going to delete it, right? So on click props dot delete to do. Okay, and we cannot call the function directly, so we have to create as an arrow function, and here we are going to say that to do dot id. So this is what we haven't created yet. So props dot delete to do, and here you can create a function. So let's copy this one and the map dispatch to props, and here it is going to be the dispatch. Okay, and here it is going to be the delete to do. So this one what we have created here, delete to do, let's paste here, and it is then a function. So let's call our function dispatch, and we are going to say we are going to call add the actions here, right? So import. You can do one more thing, like instead of importing action here, instead of writing your map dispatch to props here, you can also write in the app.js file, and you can keep this file clean, and you can pass the delete to do function as a prop to this to do list. Or if you can create here, that's why we are using Redux. So here we're going to say the dispatch delete to do. Oh sorry, we need to import it, we need to first create it. So let's go to the actions, and let's create a new function, export, or simply copy it, and instead of add to do, say delete to do. Okay, and here we are going to say the id of the to do, what to do we are going to delete. So id, and here we're going to receive the id instead of to do. So id, type, delete, and fine. So let's go to your to do list and dispatch. Let's import everything, import star, or simply something from store/actions. So it will give some hint, delete to do, save. Now we are going to say here delete to do, and also we need to give the argument. So first we need to get the argument, that's an id, and here we're going to say the id, right? And here we are going to passing the id. Okay, let's save it and pass this map dispatch to props to this null. Okay, it's connected, and let's go to the reducer. Once we dispatch the action, when we click on the list, it will dispatch an action, and the reducer will listen to that action. Let's create another case delete underscore to do, and here we're going to say first we need to remove the to do, right? So we have an id, so we are going to say first get the to do, const to do's equals to state dot to do's. Now we stored the to do's here, so we are not going to destroy or do anything with the original state. Const to do's here we have, and we are going to say the const updated to-dos equals to, let's use a function you can do anyway, right? This to-do is an array and you can apply any method to remove the object. So here I'm going to use to-dos dot map, not map, filter, and here we're going to say to-do as an argument. So to-do dot id will get here, will compare if equals to the actions dot id. Okay, so we said here, see, we're passing here id, right? So we can say the actions dot id, sorry, by mistake. So here we have to-do dot id, actions dot id. If we compare, so whatever things matched, it will return that matched object, right? So I want the opposite of that, not matched, only the unmatched. So that's the matched one will be removed, right? It will return all the unmatched to do, right? So update to-dos here. Now let's get the state and we'll say the existing state. Okay, now the next is to-dos, and here we're going to say the updated to-dos, and that's all. Save. Here we are already returning. Let's break the statement. Break. Now back to the browser, and here we have an error. Delete to-do is not exported from store actions. Export const. Here we have delete to-do. Okay, and it's fine. So here we're going to say, let's click on that. Marketing, shopping, buying. Cool. Now we have 0. Okay, so that's the length. We're printing the length here. So let's go to your to-do list, and instead of doing this length, let's compare it. If greater than 0, then only it is going to work. So we are creating here a ternary operator. Okay, otherwise it is going to be colon null. Save. Back to browser. Now let's remove marketing, shopping, buying. No 0. Let's add. Yeah, it's working fine. So in this way, you know how to get the ID, right? So you can simply attach a button, or like you want to remove the, update the things, delete the things. You can create the actions, right? So that's the thing, you can easily do that. You want me to do that? Let me do that. So let's create one more action. And here we are going to say update to do, right? Update to do. So the task which is completed, we are going to say updated. So the thing, if you see here, if you go to the reducer, you will see is completed, right? Is completed false. So if it is completed, it will be true, right? So let's go to your action, and the task is update to do. Update to do, and ID same required. Okay, now let's again go to your to-do list, and here we have to-do list, and another property we are going to create, which is update to do. The same one, it is going to get an ID. Things are going to be same. Dispatch, update to do. Okay, and let's pass the ID. That's all. Do we imported from here action? So let's say the update to do. Okay, cool. Now let's create a button here to update the to do. So we are in the li tag. Okay, let's align it. So here we have on click. Let's create one more function. Let's create a button, and let's attach this props delete function to this button. On click equals to okay, so props.delete to do will be because will be work for this button, and here we're going to say simply close, so it is going to delete it, and on click we are going to update the state of the to do is completed or not. So here we are going to say props.update to do, and we are going to pass id. So update to do, we have already created a property over here, update to do, and we are passing id. So yeah, we are not passing to do dot id, right? Let's save it. And so our function is ready, our dispatch is ready, now our action is also ready. Now let's make this work for the reducer. So case, and it is going to be update underscore to do, and here we'll say let's get the const, and we'll say here updated to do's. Okay, we are going to update a value, right? So first we need to get the to do's const, and to do's equals to state dot to do's. Okay, now we are safe, and we are going to say that to do's dot map. We're going to use a map function, so it will return a modified or changed array. And so to do here. Okay, and here we are going to say if to do to do dot id get matched with the actions dot id. If it is matched, then return a to do. First okay, what we need here, yeah, we have to do here, so we'll say, so we'll split the to do. Okay, so to do is an object, and we splitted that to do object. So if we split here, it will be id and to do and is completed. Now we are going to override, we are going to update a value is completed from false to true. Okay, and if it is not a match, then we'll simply return the to do object. So here what we have done, we spread the object, we created a new object, and we updated a value from is completed from false to true. Let's save, and let's yeah, that's all. So todos.map will work like that, and we are going to store that value updated todos, and here we are going to say state equals to the other values for the state, that the one we have like name Rizwan, and let's get the todos equals to updated todos, sorry, something wrong, updated todos. Okay, so here we have updated todos, and let's break this, save it. Now back to the browser, and we have our to-dos has already been declared, update to do. So where we have done this wrong thing, for this it is a problem. Okay, but we have done here also. Okay, the problem is we cannot declare to-dos 2 times, right? So what we can do here, or you can create one let to-dos out of this switch, let to-dos, and remove this, so it is going to work for all of them. Next error, we are going to get updated to-dos for sure. Okay, updated to-dos has been already declared, right? update to-dos, and let's remove that. Okay, back to the browser, and this is going to work, hope. So sorry, let's click on this shopping. Let's see the state. So we have two here right now, store dot get state. So we have name, as we are always keeping it safe. To-dos we have, and you can see is completed is true. Yeah, it's worked successfully. Shopping is true. So let's to see the effect on the application. We are going to say let's go to your to-do list, and here we are going to add a little bit of style. So we are going to say here style equals to, so it is going to be an object. Okay, and here we are going to say text decoration. Okay, line property, how you underline, CSS cross text. Yeah, it's text decoration for sure. Overline, line through, underline. Yep. So it is going to be line through. So here we are going to say text decoration with style text decoration. Okay, we are, yeah, text decoration, and it's a JavaScript, so we can write here conditional statement. So here we're going to props dot is completed. So props dot is completed. If it is true or if it is false, decide on that. So if it is true, then we'll say line through. Okay, if it is false, we'll simply say nothing. Okay, let's save it. Back to the browser, and we have done something wrong. Text decoration props is completed, line through. None. And why it is not reloading? I don't know what was the problem. Here we are going to see marketing, shopping. It's working. Okay, sorry, it's not props, it's to do. Sorry man. To do is completed, right? We have to do here. How can we write props? So props is completed. Let's reload this. Marketing done, shopping done, buying done. You can also remove it if you're not interested. If everything is completed, if you want to clear the to do. So we have done edit, we have done update, we have done create, we have done reading. So that's how the to-do list. If you want, you can design it properly and let me know in the comment section. So all kinds of things are done. Hey, so guys, thanks for watching this video, and if you are liking this video, if you think, yeah, it's really useful, you get some knowledge of Redux, so just press the subscribe button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's here you can say the youtube.com/Rizwan developer. I hope this is the name, developer Rizwan Khan. And this is not the name, it's actually, sorry, I'm forgetting my name, Rizwan Khan developer. Yeah, right. So here you can come youtube.com/Rizwan Khan developer. You can subscribe to this channel, and you can also press the bell icon, right? So you can get the latest notification and updates and everything about the channel and whatever the videos I will upload. So guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.